Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Franchise Hockey Manager 12 reveal stream. My name is Adam, and I'm the community manager of Franchise Hockey. With me, as always, of course, is FHM producer Jeff. And well, Jeff, I think it's safe to say we are excited to share with you what we've been working on for the 12th version of Franchise Hockey Manager. So, without further ado, I think it's important we just introduce you to it.
Yep, sorry for the delay, everybody. We had a little bit of trouble getting the trailer added to the Steam page, and we wanted that live for as soon as we started the stream. The Steam page is, incidentally, is live right now. Adam, do you have a link for them, or? Okay, we'll get that. We'll get the Steam page link up for you as soon as we can. But here is the trailer.
Franchise Hockey Manager 12, officially licensed by the NHL. New this season. Build your team in your image. Preseason training programs guide your players' development in the offseason, and targeted training during the season can help direct your players into the exact improvements you want to see. Draft day like never before. Feel the heat as ongoing trade offers and news breaks during the draft. Bring home the gold. The new World Cup is in Franchise Hockey Manager 12. Lead your country to international fame or rewrite the past. World Championships are now playable in historical, going from 1929 to current day. Improvements to AI roster management. Trading and player generation have been adjusted for more realism. New league reports. See how your team's staff matches up against the rest of the league and keep tabs on accomplishments from former players. Updated for the 2025-2026 season for every NHL club, as well as international, minor, college, and junior leagues. And much more. Welcome to Franchise Hockey Manager 12, all on the only NHL licensed PC game. Releasing October 23rd, 2025.
Okay, there we have the trailer. If anybody came in late during that, don't worry. I think we'll run through that again at the end of the stream, so you can have a look. And from there, Adam, are we ready to go?
Yeah, okay, so I said we usually say this, and I'll say it again. While there's lots of excitement for the game, we're going to talk about some of the new features, and then we'll take some time at the end for some questions from our chat. All right, so with that, Jeff, the trailer has revealed a lot of new features in FHM 12. What's probably the thing you're most excited for right now?
I think, as we already had a comment in the chat, the new training improvements. Probably the thing first and foremost we want to talk about. Let me just see. There's the new start screen. Hasn't changed too much from last year, but we got the new logos for the Blues and the Mammoth and a couple other teams. But there, you saw this during the trailer, is one of the new one of the big changes to training. If you've played out of the park baseball, you've got some probably familiar with the changes that they've made to their training system in the last couple of versions. So we've got something similar here. This is the preseason training programs. And here what you can do is choose either a specific skill you want the guy to work on in the off season, or broaden that a little bit to a group of 3 possible skills, or just go for the whole offensive skill, or the whole skill category. In this case, you can see Eberle is set to offensive. And the way this works is you preferably want to start this fairly early in the off season, and you give a guy a specific task, and you're limited in the total number that you can do, but you will see his progress tracked through as you get closer to the end of the preseason. And that'll gradually improve, and it'll give you an idea how far away he is from completing the training, and hopefully, it's not guaranteed, but hopefully he will get an improvement in the area you're targeting. And of course, the narrower the area you target, the more difficult it is to get an improvement. And there's always a risk. There's another element to time as well. If you're starting guys right at the beginning of the off season, should give them plenty of time to get through the training program. But as guys complete the training programs, that will free up room to start programs for other guys. The problem is you don't want to do that too close to the end of the season. Like, you don't want to be teaching a guy something completely new in the last 3 days of camp, because there's a chance it'll turn out okay, but there's the later you go and the less far along he is in that training process, the more of a chance there is that something goes terribly wrong and he loses some skill, he loses a skill point. So that's something you've got to balance, and then you can control how quickly he progresses by doing things like if you put your prospects in the prospects tournament, which happens in August in the game, that will give them a little bit of a bonus to their improvement in the training program progress. If every time you play them in an exhibition game, that will also give them a boost. They'll also get a certain amount of day-to-day improvement just from your relative to the skill of your staff and to their own coachability. So it'll vary quite a bit from player to player and depending on the circumstances, but that's something you'll get to figure out while you're going through all of that. Next, that's the training programs that happens in the preseason. The regular training system is going to look fairly similar, but what we've done here is also giving you the chance here to target individual skills. Like right now, if you played FHM 11 or an earlier version, you can select certain skills to get a coaching bonus in, and the player will improve a little faster in that area. That's the equivalent of that right now is the general training. But as you can see, if you look under the physical column, you can also target individual areas. So that also, this is actually, I should mention here that this is a beta screenshot. It should have the bonus numbers beside the, say, speed or whatever other area you targeted the guy to improve in. It's not doing that right now, so that's a bug, and I think Malta just fixed that in the last couple of days. So you will see that in the full game, but basically the same thing here. What you're doing when you target a specific area is slowing the player's overall development down, the development speed down a little bit, but you can pick exactly what you want to improve, or at least what you hope to improve. There's still a chance that he may improve in something in a different area, but if you've chosen a specific training area for him, the chances are heavily weighted that he will improve in that area. There are some restrictions on that. You can't, when a guy's skill gets to a certain level, you can no longer use the specific skill improvements. So you can't, say, train a guy up to some sort of Gretzky level of playmaking. Just by focusing on that over and over again, it'll eventually cut you off once it gets high enough. And as before, it's also dependent on the guys, on the skill of your coaching staff, and on the coachability of the player. So basically those are the two new halves of the training program. You've got a preseason one, and then you've got this one that operates as pretty much the old system did, only with a lot more customizability now. So that I think, covers most of the training stuff. Adam, what?
Yeah, I know. I'm definitely excited for that too. One of the other big parts talked about in the trailer and one of my favorite parts is the new draft day experience, which there was a lot of work put into this from FHM 11 to FHM 12. And Jeff, you got the screenshot up here,
yep,
which you can immediately see in the bottom right-hand corner.
So you can see what's going on now. It'll give you a little bit of a warning. It'll tell you rumors about what might be happening, what player a team is looking at, or allegedly looking at for their upcoming pick that may or may not be accurate. I don't know if we got Yeah, okay. Yep. You can see Pittsburgh there is interested. It mentions that it's interested in trading up for the pick that was whatever pick was active when that line was generated. But the one big change you can't really tell from this screen, but I guess you can infer from the fact that it's talking about Pittsburgh wanting to trade up, that there's now live trading by the AI teams during the draft. So whenever it gets to a new pick, the AI will take a look at, or all the AI teams involved in the draft will evaluate the situation, and you may get a team that, let's say they've got the 10th overall pick, and they've got a player they want, and they're definitely going to draft the guy, but they realize the other teams probably have got him ranked a little lower, and they're probably safe letting it go for another 3, 4 picks. So what they may do in that circumstance is trade down, see if they can move it, if they can negotiate anything with one of the teams that's just below them, maybe get an extra draft pick for swapping places, something along those lines, or they can go in the other direction. And a team that really wants a player and doesn't think he's going to be available when they get to their draft pick will make an offer to a team with a higher pick to swap the picks or to acquire the pick. And that will let them move up to get that player. And of course, you'll see rumors in the trades and rumors window to that effect. So that'll give you an idea what's going on in the background. And if you have to be worried about, let's say you want a particular player, but you think another team wants him, and they're talking about trading up, maybe you need to do something to get ahead of that too. And the trading will also do things like it'll decide whether or not the teams will decide if they think the draft after this one is going to be stronger, so it may dump some picks from this draft into the upcoming draft if it isn't planning on using them right away. And I think there's a couple of other different options that are that for AI trade movement during the draft, but we actually had to tone it down quite a bit. There was a ton of trading activity during the draft, but right now what we're getting in the beta testing is probably about 20-ish draft trades, which is, I think, right in line with where it's been the last couple of years. I think it was 21 last year and 23 the year before. It might be the other way around, but we're right about where we should be on that.
Yeah. All right. With that, I know personally, I think most hockey fans, including myself, are excited to see NHL players back in the Olympics. But with that, the NHL officially brought back the World Cup, and it's great to see more international tournaments again in FHM 12.
Yep. So like you can see, as you can see right here, World Cup, and it's being played in February of 2028. Different format than what we've seen the last couple of times. No more under 23 team or European team. It'll be all national teams, which creates a bit of a problem for the European leagues. We've had to add a break to their schedule because it's going to be pulling players, particularly from some countries that don't have quite as many NHLers: Switzerland, Germany, Slovakia, and it'll be played essentially like the Olympics in the off season to the Olympics. But you will have the best NHL players here, played by NHL rules, held in North America. One thing you can probably notice on that screen, you can see we've finally taken out the Czech Republic name and replaced that with Czechia, and I think we might have had that mask before, the in the United States. You may remember seeing that in certain places in the game. We've fixed a couple of other national names. Turkey has their proper name now. That's the reason that we're able to do that now, because we've separated our database from the out of the park baseball database for things like nations and countries and regions and so on. So we have a little bit more control of that now, and we'll be able to do some increasingly interesting things with that. But this is the first sign of it. And I think that about covers it. That's the World Cup of Hockey. And as Adam said, the NHL players will be allowed in the Olympics, when is the next thing? Yeah, it's this season.
This
Yeah,
yeah, February. Yeah. But Yeah, so with that, of course, historical mode is always a fan favorite. And as you've called it before, Jeff, it's a personal passion project of yours. So what's been added into historical?
Well, this is the one big remaining thing that I had to do in historical, and kind of dovetailing in from the talk about international play. The World Championships are now in historical, all the way back to 1930. So you can see there the unified Czechoslovakian team, Canada with the old red ensign flag, and this is, we've had the World Juniors in, we've had the Olympics in for a while, and the various one-off international tournaments, the Summit Series in '72, then the WHA equivalent 2 years later, Rendezvous '87, and so on, and the Canada Cups. But this is I think the biggest single international edition because we've added so many different tournaments. The one big change here from the other international tournaments, those always use the historical teams that took part in the tournament that year. The World Championships, however, is going to be a little bit more dynamic, and it will evaluate every year which how many teams have enough players to send a team to the World Championships, and it will structure the tournament accordingly and put the strongest teams in that. So it's the main reason we had to do it that way, well, other than the fact that the World Championships have changed formats so many times, it would have been impractical to have them do basically single versions of the tournaments for all the years they did something different. So you'll have a little more unified format. And the other problem is it's the East Germany problem. We can handle situations where countries split up into more than one modern nation, like Czechoslovakia becomes Czechia and Slovakia. The Soviet Union breaks up into the former Soviet republics, and so on. The problem is when when two countries combine to become one, like the German Democratic Republic and the Federal Republic of Germany, it's hard to undo that and create an East German team in the appropriate years. So this is a little bit of a cheaper cheat around that. You won't see the East German team in the World Championships, which they did a few times, I think in the 60s and possibly early 70s. I'm not sure if they ever medaled. So they won't be a big influence on the tournaments in any case. But other than that, you'll have a fairly realistic rendering of the World Championships. They'll only occur in the years that actual World Championships were held. So for a long time, the Olympic years were skipped. Obviously World War II interrupted them. I think there were a couple of other situations where there wasn't a tournament. But other than that, you will have all the historical World Championships there, and I think we're trying to get the rosters to be as realistic as possible. So obviously Canada will have a fairly understrength team, but still dominate in the very early years, and you won't really see the NHL players participating until the '70s. And
What?
then,
You don't want the NHL guys in the 50s and 60s?
nope. I mean, for a long stretch, Canada didn't even send teams. But when they came back in the '70s, that's the late '70s, that's when we started doing essentially what we do now, send the players whose teams didn't make the playoffs or who got knocked out early. So then it starts to get interesting. I mean, it's going to be Soviet dominated from the '50s through the '70s. That's pretty much guaranteed. But then you start to get some more interesting tournaments in the basically the late '70s and early '80s and onward from there.
Okay, so you're saying you want to coach the Soviets then, is basically.
I mean, it's not much of a challenge. You can.
All right, excellent. So with that, there's been a lot of under the hood work in FHM this year, as probably best way to describe it. What else can returning players and newcomers to the series expect to see this year, Jeff?
Okay, well, I got a few screenshots of that. One of the things you can see is, I'm not sure if this is the best example of it, and excuse the debugging numbers there. But you can see it's mentioned that, it's saying fairly generically here that Detroit strengthened their lineup. But when we have a trade, what the news items are going to express from now on, in most cases, is why the team made the trade. If it wanted to pick up say middle line depth, it will explain that. If they were looking to, if let's say they were going to be in a position where they had to waive somebody, or where they would have to waive somebody if they didn't trade them away and get something back, it will say that. The trade news will say that, and generally be a little more clear as to what the teams are trying to accomplish with their trades. So there's a whole bunch, I think at least a couple of hundred new variations on the trade text that explains that sort of thing. And moving on to the next one, we've also got a few new league reports. This one is the alumni report. You can see in this case it's looking at the Continental League and basically giving you a list of all the players who used to play in your league and have gone on to something else now, and saying who the most successful ones are. So it's a nice thing to have. I mean, it's not that, doesn't really tell you that much if you're in the NHL, but if you're playing as, say, a junior team or a college team, you can have a look through, and I can't change the tab here, but it'll also give you a team ranking as to which ranks teams by how many players they're producing in that wind up getting ranked in this the top 10 lists.
Yeah, I was gonna say this, I believe, was something that was requested from one of our players. Had talked about it, I know, on our forums as something they would like to see. So
Yeah,
I'm sure,
so,
I forget who it was, would be very excited for seeing
yeah.
that.
Yeah, we do have a sort of, and there's an alumni report to some extent on the teams now, but this just makes it a little clearer as to who the best ones are and which teams are producing the most players that go on to bigger and better things. The other new league report is the staff report. And you can see here I've got it set to the Finnish League, and it's I've got it on the team rankings here. So it evaluates the staff of each team and gives you an approximate ranking as to which teams have the best hockey staff. That's primarily driven by the talent of the GM and head coach. I think we have the assistant coaches in there as well, but it also, you can see on the other tabs, which I can't show you right now, but trust me, they're there. It'll rank the individual GMs, coaches, assistant coaches, scouts, and trainers through the whole league. So if you want to, say, target somebody to steal away from another team, this is not a bad place to be looking for that. And the other thing is, one other thing is the help. You may remember that Out of the Park has sort of transitioned onto this online help system instead of having redoing a new manual every year for the game. And Lord, I hated doing that manual, so I'm glad this has happened. So we're still in the process of getting all this converted and all the text added to the
Game itself?
to the game self page. This is you bring this up in the game by hitting F1. I think we had something else mapped to F1 and had to redo the chat to change that. I can't remember what it was offhand. But that F1 will open this up. It's not there on all screens yet. I mean, you can see it on the very newest one. We got it for the training program, so that gives you the list. It gives you an explanation of what's going on there. And you can see, for example, like the skill groups I mentioned earlier. And it'll tell you which skills you have to or which skill group to select if you want a chance at getting a particular target or a particular group of skills to improve.
Fair enough.
And I think that that is the last screen I have. That we can still talk about. Go through any questions people have, but as it says here, available. It's going to be out on October 23rd. I think I've got it set to release something like 5 a.m. Pacific time, or is it 7? I'll have to check on that. It's early in the morning for Pacific time and like middle of morning on the East Coast, and I guess in the afternoon in Europe. But yeah, it will be out on the 23rd. Did you post? I see Adam has posted the Steam store link. So
Multiple times.
Yeah, multiple times. So please go to that and wishlist the game if you get on your Steam account and wishlist the game on there. It's really helpful on the amount of first day visibility and placement we get on Steam's front page on release day if it's got a lot of wishlist hits before we release. So wish list it there. Encourage your friends to wish list it. Encourage strangers to wish list it.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, and
And
go ahead, Adam.
yeah, no, I was just looking to see if there's anything else. There is some minor things coming in the chat, and as I said, we'll take some questions and go over. Although some people will probably have to watch the VOD to get caught up on a few things that they're asking
Yeah,
about too.
we will run the trailer again after we've done the questions, so you can have another look at that. But where do you want to start, Adam?
All right. Okay. So I guess with that, we are time for some questions. So let's go back. And I know someone had asked, is there any changes to 2D mode from Swedish Game Freak, Jeff?
Yeah, I've made a. There's actually one fairly large change that I'm not sure is going to make it in time for release. Excuse me, my throat dried out there. The So I don't want to tip that off yet. I think that may be an update thing. But we've been tuning some things. I think one of the things I noticed, if you've been watching our Blackhawk stream, the centers are scoring a little too often in 2D mode. So I've got that tuned down, and there's a couple of other changes I want to get in there as well. So we've done some tuning to that. Still going to basically be the same idea. There is a couple of other things I want to change, but there's also this larger thing that I can't talk about yet, but will hopefully will be getting added to 2D mode in an update.
Yeah. Johnson's wife asks, is there any changes to free agency, like when a player asking for less money as time goes on?
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you asked that, because the other thing that I forgot to mention here is we've gotten some of the new NHL collective bargaining agreement stuff in yet. We're trying to get as much of that in as possible. Some of it doesn't really. It's not really practical to implement at this point, particularly that playoff cap thing. That is going to take some major rework, and you're probably not going to see that until FHM 13. But I'm getting distracted, getting sidetracked here. Sorry, but we've got a few different, few new things for CBA related things. So some of that is related to free agency. We've gotten in, so we'll get in as much of that as we can. The actual free agency mechanics are pretty similar. I think Smelly Wrestling Geek mentioned hopefully the draft day stuff makes it to free agency as well. Yeah, that's a direction we'd like to go in, where it's more of an active event, particularly on the free agency, the July 1st, and then other. Well, I guess, yeah, beginning of July in the big free agency times. So that's the direction we kind of want to go in with that. But right now, we've done the draft first, and then free agency will be somewhere down the road on that. And then as far as just the basic operation of free agency, I've done some tweaking internally to the way players make demands, and to the actual baseline values that set up the amount they asked for, which has gotten really frustrating in the last couple of weeks, with first the Kaprizov contract going completely way over the top in one direction, and then suddenly Connor McDavid only wants 12 million cap hit a year. So yeah, that's
Don't worry,
that's fun to deal with. I think basically just the way we're going to wind up handling that is Kaprizov's contract is going to be sort of a freak one-off thing, and he's going to get a high greed rating, so he tends to ask for that amount, and but the baseline will be similar to what's McDavid is signing for, because otherwise, if you've got a lot of guys signing for those big, $17 million contracts, it's really going to mess up the team rosters as you go down the road. One of the things we also did, it didn't make it in yet. We've been doing some work on getting having the cap change from year to year. So I don't think that's going to make it in for release, but we've done some work on it, and hopefully, I think, fingers crossed, we may be able to get that in at some point this year and have a more dynamic cap, rather than you guys having to raise it manually in the editor every year.
Yeah. So Jeff, just off that note, since you're talking about, how do you feel about Kyle Connor signing for 12, and then Jack Eichel just signed for 13 and a half? today.
Yeah, well, McDavid's contract looked pretty good for the Oilers.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some pretty nice even amounts. There is
You
again,
think the Oilers ownership might own a tree planting company somewhere that McDavid's going to be doing some promotions for?
who knows?
You never know.
But yeah, again, a lot of things under the hood got done, and even going back, just because there's the one screenshot, and I saw somebody bring it up when Jeff showed off the trade, it had the numbers behind it, and that was trying to show balance.
Yeah, that was in just some internal testing thing.
Yeah,
And there was actually a little bit more than that, but that was just the one thing that didn't get cleaned out when we swapped down to a build that I was able to make screenshots out of.
yeah. But
Uh,
my point is, yeah, we are working hard, and that kind of addresses some other things. A question from Renastock7 says, "Is there any new playable leagues this year, Jeff?"
not yet this year. The one thing I did do that's a major change in that area, well, not a major change, it's more a minor change. The Turkish league had been a generic league, but it's in there as a sort of not a playable league, but it's a fully represented league now. So I mean, you can use custom mode to add it as a playable league now, where you couldn't before. So
Yeah,
Turkey has added. I think that's the only major league change we made. I mean, there's other various.
there
All the
is
team
some
movement is in.
yeah,
Q is back in
Penticton.
Newfoundland. Penticton has a team in the Dub, and then these sort of minor league changes. What else? What else? What else? I should mention the. I think it's mentioned in the text on the store page. We really ramped up the movement of players from the major junior leagues into the NCAA teams, which I mean we added that late last year, and it was fairly conservative, but as it's turned out now, there's been a lot more movement than we expected, and some really high profile players as well. So you're going to see a lot more of that in the game this year, particularly, which will be nice if you're running a college team. Not so nice if you're running a junior team, because you're going to probably wind up losing some players to college before you want them to. And then the other thing, the NCAA transfer portal. That's what I was trying to say. Our numbers on that were a little too conservative last year, and they should be up. We've made a couple of changes. I haven't seen the newest one yet, but we're getting towards the proper amount of activity. Bottom line is, if you're playing as Michigan or whoever, it's going to be easier to grab good players from junior and from other teams.
Yeah. Just going back up a little bit, Skyvan Drake asked, "Is there any changes to tactics other than saving them?"
That's pretty much it. I don't think we've made. I'm trying to think if there was anything in the fixed lists. I can't think of anything offhand. The major change there is being able to save your tactics and reload them, and so you don't have to remember or write down what a particular setup was, or you can come up with particular alignment, particular groups of tactics, and shuffle between them.
Yeah. Just trying to go back and see if there's anything else that was jumping out. Um, Getting called out for things. That's Adam signs Zetterberg for $1 billion, and when he's coaching the Leafs, well, that's just never happening.
Well, now we're going to
I mean,
make you
don't get
do
me
it.
wrong, I like Zetterberg, just me coaching the Leafs. Did we do the Leafs stream once? I feel like we did.
We did once. I think I played. I think that was mine when we were swapping back and forth. Uh,
Yeah. FHM3s.
oh wow, that far back, good memory. Do you guys happen to know if the Hong Kong League is added into the game? Not yet. It's there, sort of. It's a generic league. It doesn't have individual teams. You'll see players winding up there because the Hong Kong. I can't remember which levels of national team. I think they've got the senior team, and then they've got at least an under 18 team. They play in the World Championships, World Junior Championships. So they generate players, and the players will wind up in what's basically a sort of holding areas for. There's a generic league for the Hong Kong League. Uh, oh,
There's a question from Boiled Egg 1974. says, are IIHF membership nations added? Like I know Kenya just got accepted.
I think I put them in already. I've got to check. Yeah, I think if I remember that, I did. I did add them as an IIHF member, which doesn't necessarily mean they're going to generate players. Uh, I may, if I to get them generating players, I've got to do a couple of different things with the database, but I can get them include. Yeah, I will need to check that. I think they're already in, but I'll check the new IHF membership list and make sure all the countries that should be there are in there. And basically, I don't really add the player generation until a team is participating in World Championships, even if it's the D pool. And I've still got that old project where I want to have some teams be getting added to the bottom of the D pool and shuffling in and out. I've been wanting to do that for a couple of years, so that may be something for the future. What else we got?
A lot of things I think we've already addressed. If I'm missing something, repost in the chat again.
Oh, any plans for the PWHL eventually? Yeah, well, I mean, I'm making plans. Honestly, I wanted to have it in the last couple of versions. And I know how I want to do it. It's just convincing the other two guys that it's time to take a fairly good chunk of our off-season development time and add it in, because we're going to have to do things. Obviously, we've got to change a bunch of story text and can't have everything referring to him. We just have to change it to a generic pronoun so we can start referring to her. And then the way we would do it, I think, is basically have a completely separate quick start for women's hockey. That just to say the same way you've got to begin with, there's only the opening night quick start, but eventually we add the current quick start, so you can start with either the current rosters or the opening night ones, and then we would just add another one or maybe two if we updated the rosters, a version of the women's rosters, and you would load that, and everything, all the ratings would be scaled properly to the women's league. So you would have players. If I rated the women's players, and I hope I don't get into trouble for saying this, but you wind up with something fairly near the bottom of what our region can represent right now. It's like somewhere around midget level for the national teams, and
Under
probably
17
the PWHL. Yeah, sorry, I'm not allowed to call them midgets anymore. Right, under 17 teams. But if we do it as a separate quick start, then we can just scale everything properly, and the best female players in the world will have ratings up to the 1 to 20, and they'll look like 4-star players the same way the top men's players would in the men's quick start. So that seems to be the way to handle that. But that still is a ways off, and I got some convincing to do to get it into the game. So help me out. Mention it on the forum if you want to see it.
No, it's not in right now, that David kid. Jeff
Yeah.
was just talking about hypothetically how it could work if it does go in at some point, which he would like to do. Another question: is there anything new that's moddable, like goal horns? I'm guessing he said goal screens, but I'm guessing he means goal horns.
Again, we're getting towards really tipping it off here. That thing I can't talk about it in 2D mode yet. But that would be something that would add to the modability of that. The actual modding of the in-game stuff, not a lot of big changes there that I can really think of offhand. That tends to be something we wind up adding extra modding abilities in the in-season updates. It's a good time to fit that in there.
Yeah. Just trying to go back and see if there's anything else that's really. When you save tactics, does it also save the ice time number?
That is an excellent question. Sebastian quoted that one. I can't remember offhand. Sorry. I think it does. I don't want to can't guarantee it though. But that's actually that actually should be saved as part of the tactics. So. Or wait, no, that's in the lines. Yeah, no, that may not work. No, I don't think it. Yeah, that's yeah. Logically, it wouldn't be. Have to figure out something for that.
Okay. Now, again, is the preseason schedule going to be adjusted or more realistic according to Toringus?
I'm not sure if that's one of the. I think it might be one of the changes that went in for the new CBA because they're going to cut down on the preseason games.
Yeah, it's down to what? What is it? 4? They're
Yeah,
maxing out at?
yeah. So I think we either that's it. Maybe may even be in already. I would have to check that. But that's. I mean, yeah, that's something that's relatively simple to implement. But there's other things that affect the season start times too that we've got to play around with because well with the World Cup in the middle of the season and that's going to bump the schedule back in every other year or every 4 years. Hmm? What'd you say?
And 2 extra games.
Yeah, that as well. And the two extra games, the longer schedule will be in starting with the second season.
Yeah, which I think the NHL officially announced they're starting in September next year. So
Yeah, the way I've done that is just took the current schedule and tacked on a couple of interdivision or intra-division games, usually with their close rival. Like I think I did Minnesota and can't remember. I think Vancouver's got Calgary and Edmonton stuff. The logical ones you would expect for the extra games.
yeah. Well, the extra games, it's just supposed to be the division games, is all it is.
Yeah.
So it's evening them out so that it's 4 per every division because it's not currently. Like it's 4 and 3, and then it's going to 4 and 4. Anyways, Boiled Egg 1974 says, "Can RFA compensation system is it editable?"
Not yet. Interesting idea though. Yeah, it isn't now, but I'd have to check with Malta on that to see how exactly he's got it set up because I know we wind up having to change it every year because the real numbers change. But yeah, that may be something we can edit. I'll check on that. That's a good idea.
All right.
Ranastock's asking in the main chat if the Hong Kong League, he missed the answer to the Hong Kong League. It's in there as a generic league. The short answer. If you want to go back and watch the VOD, I explained it a little at a little more length.
Yep. Is it possible that maybe in the future NHL GMs will give more control over the AHL, especially in online leagues? It's an issue. Security Shark says.
Yeah, there's some basics. We've wanted to do that for a while, but there's some basic structural problems with the way the game is set up that makes that kind of difficult because the AHL teams have to act as independent teams. We did find not that it's going to help in that situation, but we did find an unpleasant bug that was explained why the AHL teams were sending NHL contracted guys down to the ECHL so aggressively. That got fixed a little while ago. But yeah, I mean, ideally you would have, I know a lot of people want to be able to basically control the two teams at once, but right now the only way you can really do that is by starting a multiplayer game, which with all the ensuing complications and adding a separate GM account to run the minor league team.
Yeah. Just another question here from Wings Cujo 31. Great name. Is there a history of every staff member, including assistants? Can assistants be hired away as head coaches?
Yes and yes. I think we've always had the ability to hire assistants as head coaches. And now that you mentioned it, I actually just did a big record stat history dump for the staff out of the Elite Prospects database a few weeks ago. I still need to do a little bit of work on that, and we've got a bit of a problem. Well, a couple of problems. One, matching up our staff to their corresponding Elite Prospects record. The ID matching on there has still got some holes in it. We've been gradually improving that, but so that's not quite all the way. Although you will see a lot more staff if you look at their histories with full job histories. And the other thing is Elite Prospects is pretty spotty on staff for particularly a lot of the non-NHL leagues. Some are really good. Some there's not much at all. So we're gonna we're
Yeah.
kind of dependent on that because updating those records any other way would be kind of a monstrous job. But yeah, well, Dave, there'll definitely be more staff history in it this year than you've seen it in past seasons, past versions.
And I would just add, Jeff, you talk about elite prospects a lot, and why is that? I guess for some
Yeah,
of
we've
those
had a deal for an agreement with them for oh man, when did
many a
I?
year.
I'm just
It
trying
might be since I've been here.
I know when I went down, went and saw Peter from Elite Prospects in his office in Tampa, and I think was that the year I went to WrestleMania? Might have been 2017. The Yeah, but it's been a few years, and so we've got a deal with them where we can get access to their database, and they pull some stuff from ours. I send them the data, and we advertise the game or them in game a little bit as well. You'll see the Elite Prospects logo on a few screens, and those actually, and if you look at player career stats and click on the EP link, it'll open the player up to his Elite Prospects page. So that's a great relationship for us, and we're really happy that they're willing to do that with us. And speaking of great relationships, also obviously the NHL, we're back licensed again. We've actually just signed a deal for this to continue the contract for this year and next year. So FHM 13 will also be NHL licensed.
Jeff confirming FHM 13 as actually.
Well, we're paying for a license for it, so we better make it. Otherwise, yeah.
Otherwise, the NHL won't be happy. Is that?
Well, they're getting their money either way, but the problem is that we won't be getting any money for it if there's no FHM 13. So yeah, we kind of need that to happen.
Yeah. With that, I think we're kind of running out of questions here.
Okay, that's good. I think so. What we'll do now is run the trailer one more time because I think we've had a lot of people come in, particularly after our technical difficulties off the start, but a lot of people coming in that didn't get to see it the first time through. So I will fire that up and we will take another look at that. And hopefully this works right because I had some issues getting this added to the show, but here we go.
Franchise Hockey Manager 12, officially licensed by the NHL. New this season. Build your team in your image. Preseason training programs guide your players' development in the offseason, and targeted training during the season can help direct your players into the exact improvements you want to see. Draft day like never before. Feel the heat as ongoing trade offers and news breaks during the draft. Bring home the gold. The new World Cup is in Franchise Hockey Manager 12. Lead your country to international fame or rewrite the past. World Championships are now playable in historical, going from 1929 to current day. Improvements to AI roster management. Trading and player generation have been adjusted for more realism. New league reports. See how your team's staff matches up against the rest of the league and keep tabs on accomplishments from former players. Updated for the 2025-2026 season for every NHL club as well as international, minor, college, and junior leagues. And much more. Welcome to Franchise Hockey Manager 12, all on the only NHL licensed PC game. Releasing October 23rd, 2025.
Okay, and you may have noticed one little goof in there. I didn't send the right screenshot for the historical international tournaments, so it's actually showing the historical challenges page, and we'll get that hopefully fixed and updated on the in the store and on the YouTube upload of the trailer. So, but other than that, I think that covered pretty much everything. Adam, anything else to add here?
No, I think that's basically it. So with that, again, we'll be talking more next Wednesday at our usual time of 11 p.m. Eastern on these Twitch channels, which is twitch.tv/franchise hockey manager, as well as twitch.tv/OOTP developments. If you're watching this, it might be archived on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/OOTP developments as well. which all of our streams are archived, usually on Saturdays at about 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for European viewers, although this one will be up sooner, hopefully tonight, in fact. And who knows, maybe Jeff or I might even be in the chat in case people happen to be watching. Uh, Other than that, Jeff, I think we're just kind of excited to get FHM 12 out for everyone to play.
Yep.
I know I've got
Okay.
lots of hours in it so far.
Yep. Likewise. And just to mention again, please go to the Steam store site that we've linked in the chat. I think. Oh, Adam needs to link it again. Apparently, I don't see it on the main chat right now.
I just did it,
Yeah.
Jeff.
I don't see it.
Really, it's not posting?
Yeah, no,
That's
it's. I'm just
kind
seeing
of-
the. Oh, if you scroll up a little bit, it's there. But please go there. Please wish list it. If you can get other people to wish list it, that'd be great too. Because the more wish list, and more people wish list it, the better we do on opening day. And if you're familiar at all with the way games work on Steam, your opening day sales are life. That really depends on how the game, or that really sets a tone for how the game is going to do. I can generally tell within the first 8 hours or so what kind of a year we're going to have, which is terrifying. But you really help us out if you get it wish listed. So thank you very much. Go. What was that?
Just get one quick question at the end here from
sure.
somebody who just came in. Was Leg TAYM asked, player generation, will we see more realistic draft classes?
Yep, always working on that, but we have made some specific changes to that. It was a little too strong, so we toned down a little bit. We've also I forgot to mention this. The little change I made is before there was a way that the game would generate superstar players, but the sort of megastar Gretzky, McDavid level guys, it couldn't really get quite that high, but we made a change. So very, very rarely you will see a guy like that, a Gretzky or an Orr or Lemieux, pop up in your future draft classes. Well, you may or may not. It's that rare. But basically a generational player. And then we also did one of the other structural things we did with the player generation is you won't see the crazy good, as many guys with really great defensive skills coming out of the draft. That's defensive skills are something now that will be, or at least the very high end of them, will be something that will be the player will have to develop themselves. They won't. You won't get all these two-way superstar, all the Barkov and Fedorov type guys. There were too many of those before. You'll get more one-dimensional offensive players. Well, not totally one-dimensional, but you get the idea. It's there's more offense-first players now, basically, particularly among the forwards. But that's a change. That's the type of change we've been making to the draft classes. And I think that winds it up. So thank you, everybody, for coming out. We will be back next week and be able to show you hopefully some streaming of the actual game itself. And I can explain some of the new features in a little more detail and what we've done. So come back next Wednesday at our usual time, I guess, which is 8 Pacific. That's right. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm in the Pacific time zone. It's 8 o'clock. 10.
No. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're.
Yeah.
9 Mountain, 10
Too many
Central,
times.
11 Eastern, and early morning in Europe. So thanks for coming out, and we will see you back here next week. And if you got questions, ask them on social media or in our forums, and we'll try to respond. Thank you very much.